Rocky Mountain Cookery by Anna Virginia Miller. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Many a housewife with the reputation of being an excellent cook in the East has come to Colorado only to find that there is a wide difference between cooking at sea level or at a slight elevation and at an altitude of a mile or more above sea level, and that many of the recipes which had won for her fame in the old home would not work and must be made over to suit the conditions. Perchance she does not know why her cakes are not light, her muffins fall, and her biscuit looks so unsightly, until some chance acquaintance comes to the rescue and relates her own experience, mixing it with a little sisterly advice and a few prescriptions for the newcomer to digest at leisure. The writer had much the same experience when she was called to Denver as a demonstration lecturer, only, in her case, it was necessary to have every dish come out absolutely perfect, for a large store of patience cannot be expected from the public. When they attend a public demonstration, they wish to see the finished article and not listen to apologies of what it should have been. A thorough knowledge of the chemistry of foods is of great assistance to one under these circumstances. Every recipe prescribing flour must be rewritten and tested before it can be launched safely before an audience of critical housewives. Not a cookbook can be found for this altitude. Perhaps no one has been brave enough to undertake the task of writing one, and so each woman has been left to her own resources, to recompose the recipes given in her favorite cookbook, but prepared for a different locality. A few suggestions, it is hoped, will aid those who are at bay in adapting recipes which they used to term perfect. When eggs are called for, use all your conscience will allow, and then shut your eyes and use one or two more. Someone says, "This is very extravagant. I cannot afford to use so many eggs." But one can make it up in a measure in shortening and baking powder, and often in sugar. But remember, if the health of your family be valued, one cannot afford to be miserly with eggs. For food here will not be light and easy of digestion unless plenty of eggs are used. And the eggs must be beaten, too, with long and tedious beating, for it takes a much longer time to beat eggs in this high altitude until they become thick and lemon-colored. Perchance the thought will occur to you to use a larger amount of baking powder in place of an egg or two, but put that thought from you. Only disappointment awaits the experiment, as baking powder must be used more sparingly than formerly. From 1/4 to 1/2 less shortening will be all that is required for cake recipes, the percentage of reduction depending upon the richness of the recipe to be followed. A very rich cake should not be attempted, and in a moderately rich cake it will be found much safer to depend upon eggs as far as possible, and not pin the faith on a large amount of even the best of butter to make the cake rich. Sugar must be used with caution in all recipes calling for flour. Usually in a cake recipe calling for 1 cup of sugar, about 3/4 a cup will be found quite enough, but the amount varies with the proportions of other ingredients. More flour will be required for a given amount of liquid, or, if one prefer to use the same quantity of flour as formerly, diminish the quantity of liquid. Muffins and cakes, to hold their own in the oven, must be made very stiff. The time in baking will be found to be longer. Consequently, the fuel bill is apt to be increased. Water boils at a very low temperature. Therefore, articles that are to be boiled must be cooked much longer. For instance, an egg will boil to the stage termed soft in 5 minutes. At the sea level this same egg would have been in light condition in 3 minutes. Beans must be boiled for hours. One cook, who had a reputation for the delicious beans she served a la Boston, replied when asked her secret, they were cooked a week. Beans must be soaked overnight, boiled the next day, and on the 3rd day baked. For instance, they will be ready to serve on Saturday evening for supper if one adheres to the true Bostonian fashion, provided they be started on Thursday or better still on Wednesday, thus giving 2 days for the baking. However, if fuel is an item to be considered, it will be found much more economical to buy beans at the baker's, as they are baked in such large quantities and the cost is much less than if the task be undertaken at home. The following recipes have been thoroughly tested and will be found to contain the correct proportions for use in Denver or any other place of similar altitude. Level measurements have been used. Mountain muffins. Mix and sift 2 1/2 cups of flour, 2 teaspoonfuls of baking powder, 1/2 a teaspoonful of salt, and 2 tablespoonfuls of sugar. Add 3/4 a cup of milk, 2 eggs, beaten until thick and lemon colored, and 2 tablespoonfuls of melted butter. Bake in gem pans in a moderate oven 25 minutes. Rocky Ginger Cakes. To 1/2 a cup of Puerto Rico molasses, add 1/2 a cup of sour milk, 1 egg, well beaten, and 3/4 a cup of sugar. Mix and sift 2 cups of flour, 1/2 a teaspoonful of soda, 1 teaspoonful of ginger, 1 teaspoonful of cinnamon, and 1/4 a teaspoonful of clove. Combine mixtures and bake in gem pans in a slow oven. Rocky Mountain Sponge. Make a syrup of 3/4 a cup of sugar and 3 tablespoonfuls of water by cooking together 10 minutes. Cool and pour gradually over the yolks of 3 eggs, which have been beaten until thick and lemon colored, beating all the time and continuing the beating 15 minutes. Add 1 1/8 cups of flour, 1 teaspoonful of lemon juice, and the whites of 3 eggs beaten until stiff and dry. Bake in a loaf in a moderate oven 3/4 of an hour. Orange Cake. Cream 3 tablespoonfuls of butter and add 1/2 a cup of sugar. Beat 2 eggs until thick and lemon colored and add 1/4 a cup of sugar. Combine mixtures. Mix and sift 1 1/2 cups of flour. Add 1 teaspoonful of baking powder and add to the first mixture alternately with 1/2 a cup of milk. Flavor with 1/2 a teaspoonful of orange extract. Bake in gem pans and frost with golden frosting. For this, take the yolks of 2 eggs, beat slightly, add sugar until thick enough to spread, and flavor with orange extract. The cake mixture may be baked in layer cake pans and put together with orange filling. This is made by cooking together, in a double boiler, 1/2 a cup of sugar, 3 tablespoonfuls of flour, the juice of 1 orange, the grated rind of 1/2 an orange, 1 teaspoonful of lemon juice, 1 egg slightly beaten, and 1 teaspoonful of butter. Some of the filling may be saved for the top of the cake, or, if a more elaborate cake be desired, frost the top with egg frosting and place sections of orange on top for a garnish. Mountain Snow Cake. Cream 1/3 a cup of butter and add, gradually, 3/4 a cup of sugar. Mix and sift 2 cups of flour with 2 teaspoonfuls of baking powder and add to the first mixture, alternately, with 1/2 a cup of milk. Beat the whites of 4 eggs until stiff and dry and add to the cake, together with 1/2 a teaspoonful of almond extract. Bake in layer cake pans and put together with 2 cups of heavy cream, sweetened with 1/4 a cup of sugar and flavored with 1/2 a teaspoonful of vanilla. Steamed Pudding. Cream 1/2 a cup of butter and add, gradually, 3/4 a cup of sugar. Mix and sift together 3 1/2 cups of flour, 3 1/2 teaspoonfuls of baking powder, and 1/4 a teaspoonful of salt. Beat 3 eggs until thick and lemon colored and add 1/2 a cup of milk. Combine mixtures and add 1 1/2 cups of fruit. Turn into small buttered molds and steam 2 1/4 hours. The fruit may be omitted when it will be necessary to add more milk. For the sauce mix 2 tablespoons of cornstarch and 1 cup of sugar. Add gradually 2 cups of fruit juice, stirring constantly. Let boil 5 minutes, remove from the fire, and add 2 tablespoonfuls of butter. End of Rocky Mountain Cookery by Anna Virginia Miller. Read by Betty B.